What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we have this 2004 Jeep Wrangler in the shop, and we are going to be replacing both upper and lower passenger side ball joints. We're going to show you why. So shortly after we put the lift kit on this Jeep, we started noticing some drivability concerns. And we also started noticing some noises. So we went over our install again. We double checked everything. Everything that we did with the lift kit was okay. But when we went ahead and checked the front end, we found that one of these ball joints here, I don't know if you can see it in the video, is in really, really bad shape. Now, I don't remember if it was the upper or the lower because it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks. It's the upper. It's been a little while since we looked at this, but like I said, it needs ball joints. So let's talk about things that you might notice when you need your ball joints. You may have a pull to the left or the right when braking or when accelerating that goes away when you're, driving straight. You may have some loose steering. You may see some inner tire wear, and if it's at an advanced stage like this is, where we have that much movement, you may hear clunking noises and things like that when hitting bumps. So we're going to go ahead and replace both the upper and the lower ball joints. Even though we know it's the upper that is loose or worn, it doesn't make sense to pull this whole thing apart and only do one. So we decided to go with Spicer ball joints. They are original equipment. Dana Spicer makes the front axle on this truck. So we have a 40583. I don't know if this is the upper or the lower. Let's open it up and take a look. I believe this is the lower. And we also have a 40916. So I will go ahead and leave both of those in the video description below. Now, we do also have a unit bearing or a hub bearing here. You have to pull the hub out of the knuckle in order to replace these wheel bearings. And here in the salt belt, things like to rust and rot. So I have a feeling that unit bearing or that hub assembly is probably going to have to get hammered out. And we're probably going to do some damage to it. So it doesn't make sense not to replace it while we have it out. So let's go ahead and let's rip right into it. We're going to go ahead and take the wheel off, and we're going to disassemble the brakes. We're going to take the caliper off of the knuckle. We're going to take the rotor off. We're going to get this thing down to just the hub and the knuckle, and we'll take it from there. Now, in this vehicle, we do also have wheel spacers that we're going to have to go ahead and remove. They are going to be a 19 millimeter. So now we can go ahead and remove the caliper. We are going to hang it up. We have a set of caliper hangers. They look like this right here. It's like a little metal S. I'll leave some of these in the video description below. I'll leave the ball joints in the video description below. I'll leave a hub in the video description below. I'll leave everything you need to do this job down in the video description below. If you buy from those links, it greatly helps us. So we're going to go ahead, 13 millimeter, pull the caliper off, and take it from there. Once we have the caliper hung up and out of the way, you can go ahead and remove your rotor. We did just do brakes on this, so it's coming apart really nicely. Hopefully yours does too, but so now we're going to go ahead. We're going to remove the cotter pin here from the tie rod end, and then we're going to go ahead and take the castle nut off. It looks to be like a 19 millimeter, but we'll double check with you and let you know. To remove the cotter pin, I'm just going to use a set of dikes. Straighten the one end of the pin out. And then I like to grab the other end with the dikes and pull it through like so. We're going to go ahead and spray some penetrating oil here on this castle nut. And we're also going to get these studs here on the unit bearing or the hub bearing where it comes out. And while we have our dikes, we're also going to go ahead and remove the cotter pin here for the axle shaft where it connects to the hub. And once that is out, you can go ahead and remove the lock nut cover that is encapsulating the axle nut. Let's go ahead and get that castle nut off. Like I said, it looks like it's a 19. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our big hammer and we're going to strike the knuckle right here, right where the tie rod end goes in. And that should jar the tie rod end loose and allow it to drop so that we can manipulate our knuckle a little bit better. Okay, tie rod end is out. And now we have free articulation here of this knuckle. So now we're going to go ahead, again, a little bit of PB Blaster, 36 millimeter socket. I'll leave one in the video description below. Let's go ahead and pull that axle nut out. All right, now once you get that axle nut out, you're going to have a washer behind it. There is a flat end and a flared end that basically flares out towards you. That's the way it's going to sit. The convex end, I guess it would be not the concave, the convex, the part that sticks out is going to face you. So we're going to go ahead, set this aside. At this point, you're going to want to go ahead and grab your axle shaft and make sure that you can move it. This means that it's going to be free and it's not seized to the hub. If it was seized to the hub, you'd have to get in here with a punch and a hammer or a air hammer, break that loose. Otherwise, you know, the hub is going to be seized to the shaft. So let's go ahead now. We're going to need either a 1/2 inch or a 13 millimeter 12-point socket. And we need to go ahead and remove the 3 bolts that hold the unit bearing or the hub bearing to the knuckle. So like I said, one of these will be in the video description below. Ordinarily, I'd be using a swivel socket with this and my impact gun, but my swivel socket or my universal is broken at this time. So we're going to be breaking this loose with a 1/2 inch breaker bar. Okay. What you can actually do is use this bolt and your socket, and you can strike it with the hammer through here to try to break the hub loose. Like I said, in the salt belt, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to end up replacing the hub. But I did just want to point that out, that that is a way to get this to come apart without, you know, condemning your hub. So let's just work it a little bit, and we actually might have saved this hub. Yeah. Let me go grab my pry bar. It's actually very rare, especially here in New Jersey, that we were just able to do that. Usually these things will fight you till the bitter end. I am amazed. And this hub is actually in really nice shape. I don't even think we're going to replace this. Go ahead and put it down here. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull our axle shaft out. Now is a good opportunity to go ahead and inspect your universal. This one is in nice shape, which is great. So now we're going to have 2 more sets here of cotter pins that we need to go ahead and remove. There's going to be the one here for the upper joint, and then the one down below for the lower. I was off a little bit. This is going to be held in with a 22 millimeter. We got 1 more cotter pin down here to remove, and then we can remove the nut for the lower ball joint. Once you go ahead and get that cotter pin out, we're just going to go ahead, give it a quick spray, and then we're going to take a 32 millimeter socket and go ahead and remove that. Now, what I like to do is I'll go ahead and I'll start this. I'll just leave a couple of threads on it. And now what we basically have to do is strike this knuckle here and here and try to jar it loose. If you have a pickle fork, you can get a pickle fork in there. I don't have one. I don't really work on these things enough to necessitate one. But we're just going to go ahead and, like I said, and drop stuff. Eventually, you'll see the knuckle separate from the joints. So once you get to this point, you're going to go ahead and get your ball joint press. You're going to go ahead and select your cups, and you're going to go ahead and press the ball joints out. The bottom one is going to get pushed out downwards, so this is going to get pushed down, and the upper one is going to get pushed up. So lower, down, upper, up. That's my cheat code. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove the lower ball joint first. I never really like doing these on Jeeps because the upper interferes with the lower and the lower interferes with the upper, but such is life. So like I said, we need to go ahead and push the lower down. So you're going to select the cup that's going to allow the shaft of the ball joint to fit through it, and then you're going to use a cup as well. So this is the way you're going to set this up. More or less, this is going to sit in here. This is going to come up into here. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten this screw here. And that is going to be what is going to actually be pressing out our ball joint. Now with Jeeps, there's really no easy way to do this because of the way this is angled. Like I said, we're going to get this the best we can, and we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. So it took us a couple of shots with this ball joint press to get this set up right, because the cups that they provide, the smaller one is too small, and then the size up is too big. It just kept wanting to walk up the knuckle. So I ended up having to wedge a piece of metal, which you'll see right here, into the knuckle in order to get it to catch. And what you're going to see now is as we tighten this, the ball joint is slowly going to start getting pressed out. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this so it doesn't come flying out like that. Now we can go ahead and remove this whole setup, and you'll see the lower ball joint is now removed from the knuckle. Now, what's great about having the lower out now is we can put our tool through the hole that the lower ball joint goes in, and it's going to allow us to get a nice straight press here. There we go. The upper and lower are now out. So we're now at a point where we can go ahead and begin to press the new ball joints in. We're going to start with the lower, and I'm just going to take some purple brake parts lubricant here. I'll leave some of this in the video description below. This is just going to aid us in pressing the new ball joint in. Just going to go ahead, coat it really quick, and we're just going to slide it up into place. And now we have to go ahead and find the cup that is going to fit over this and get the machine set up. I'll show you in just a second. There we go. The upper and lower are now out. So we're actually having a problem here. Whoever worked on this Jeep prior to us owning it, when they did the ball joints, they used a gnarled joint. So you can see the gnarls here in the joint to help. It basically helps the ball joint grab the inside of the knuckle or the C. You're not supposed to use them unless you're having a problem, because what it does is it stretches out and screws this bore up. So now our new ball joints, I don't even have to press them in, and then they fall right out. So these spicers are not going to work for us. I'm going to have to return these, and we have to go get, I hate having to do this, I have to go to AutoZone and get some aftermarket Moogs that are going to have these gnarls or these splines in them, because it's the only option I have. I could tack weld these in, but God forbid a weld breaks, 2-3 years down the road and the front end falls apart, and I don't want to be responsible for that. I want no part in that. So we're going to have to go ahead and get some different ball joints here for this thing. So we just went ahead and installed our new gnarled lower ball joint. This is how we had it set up. For some reason, the camera cut out. Sorry for that. But this is how we have the ball joint press set up. The only thing that we did off camera is go ahead and remove the boot for the ball joint. I didn't want to damage it. So we're just going to go ahead now and take this ball joint press back apart. We're going to reinstall the boot, and then we can go ahead and press the upper ball joint in. So now that we have the upper and the lower ball joints pressed in, let's go ahead, throw our knuckle back on. Real easy, real simple. You're just going to slide it over both of your ball joints, like so. And then you're just going to start your nuts. Go ahead and grab the hardware for the bottom one, get that started. And then I'm just going to throw you on a time lapse. We're going to slap this thing back together.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in our eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger.
Alright guys, and that's going to be it for this video. You'll see here, we got the wheel on, everything's done, brakes are in, ball joints are in, and you just replaced the upper and lower ball joints on your Jeep Wrangler with the Dana 30. So if this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. We do greatly appreciate it. Like we said earlier, everything we used in this video will be in the video description below, and we'll see you guys next time.